Okay, so today's chill talk is from the book titled Awakened Imagination and the Search by Neville Goddard, 1954. Chapter 5, The Coin of Heaven. Does a firm persuasion that a thing is so make it so? We are led to believe a lie when we see with, not through the eye. William Blake. Romans chapter 14, verse 5. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. To consciously create circumstance, man must consciously direct his inner speech, matching the still small voice to his fulfilled desires. Romans chapter 4, verse 17. He calls things not seen as though they were. This is the power which makes the achievement of aims, the attainment of desires, inevitable. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. It is the way out of limitation and into freedom." So with that being said, how do we go about living our daily lives in a manner that is with the least amount of effort, but with the most amount of outcome, positive outcome?
When Neville talks about inner speech and talk, let's define what this means, right? Because when you say you talk to yourself, there's two there.
People think you're crazy.
There's the you that's talking to yourself. So if we say, okay, we're on Caesar's Earth, there's planet Earth, there's duality, there's two. If we come to accept that, we're good. We could come to a sense of awareness of, okay, let's marry the two. Where two or more together are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. So if we can get those two...
How do you make that practical for the everyday person?
This radical idea of inner speech being the catalyst to unlock the door to your dreams,
yes,
it can also be the first step on your staircase to hell.
Right. Here's where people go wrong, right? So everybody wants more money. Well, not everybody, but I'll say most people want more money. Mm-hmm. Most people want more security. Most people want, a lot of people want a better job. Most people want to be happy. Okay, well, you can't just say, I want to be happy and you'll be happy. Or I want money and you're going to get money.
But why?
Okay, because when you say, I want money, it actually sends a signal to the universe saying, I currently don't have money.
Right.
You keep wanting the money, you will always be wanting the money because you're in that paradigm. So
right.
If you don't want to want money anymore, you must feel as if you already are in that position of already having the money, therefore you don't want the money.
So, like it says in the Bible, go in and possess the land.
Well, look at Jesus. Before he multiplied the loaves.
Thank you,
Before
Father.
he raised Lazarus from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And then he performed these miracles. Why does he say thank you before he performs the miracles? Why doesn't he say, oh, please, God, I need food, I'm hungry? Well, if you keep saying, I'm hungry, guess what?
The utterance of I want is an axiomatic statement that says I am not right now.
Right. Now,
so it's blindly accepting that which you do not want.
Right. And I think it's difficult for some
Very
people
ironic.
and even a lot of people to introspect inside themselves as to what it is their inner talking really is saying. Because it can be a nebulous thing to try to face that.
And Neville talks about that. He says it's basically a retracting from the physical plane and going back into the subconscious. And that's what Christian Larson was talking about in his book, Your Forces and How to Use Them. Go in and possess the land. Now, you could possess whatever land you want through the power of the word. I'm not going to say you can go in and possess any land that you want, because you really can't possess the land that you want. You possess the land that you accept.
Yes.
There's a difference. You can accept that which you don't want. People do it every day. It really pays dividends to accept that which you want consciously.
Yeah, and it takes work.
Because you can accept that which you want unconsciously. You just don't know why you're accepting of it and why it's substantiating in your experience.
Yes, people can call that ancestral patterns.
That's how you and I played golf when we were 8. World championships, we played great golf. We didn't know why. We know how instrumental and sovereign the practice of optimal self-talk is, and inner speech. We know that, okay?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
how do we make it practical for us to augment our inner speech to a sense we heighten our experience?
Well, first you have to understand what it is that you really want. What it is you would like to accept for yourself.
Right, because a
The
lot of
desire.
these,
You can call it a desire, whatever you want
Right.
to project in your life.
a lot of these self-help books and all these gurus, if you will, they say, oh, how to get what you want. You can't get what you want in life. Because like we just said,
But if you try sometimes,
you just might find
you
you'll
get what you need.
You get what you need.
Let's just explain one more time. You won't get what you want in life because you always want it. And like we said,
Yeah.
your accepting of the statement I want is axiomatically stating I do not have.
Right.
And
So,
I am not.
It's becoming aware of the wants inside, so that's fine. It's okay to want something, but if you keep wanting it, you won't get it necessarily.
right. It's making your
So-
desire your master.
A desire is good, but to keep desiring it means you're like the hamster in the wheel.
Right.
You're never going to get there.
So
So you have to, in a way, almost, and it starts with imagination. Albert Einstein, imagination is more important than knowledge. The book of Romans, let every man be persuaded in his own mind. That means you must use the faith in projecting your desire onto the screen of your mind and assuming the feeling of the desire already done. Thank you, Father. It is finished. That's what Jesus was saying.
So, the catalyzation, the bringing about of the proper use of inner speech, number one, is predicated on our level of awareness of our inner speech.
Yes,
Whether
and-
it's good or bad.
And have you ever realized that begging and pleasing never really works? Because when you're saying,
Wow.
please, I need this. I want, please, I want this. This is something I really want. Please.
Well,
When you're
notice
saying-
that statement you just
when you're
accepted. I
Right.
want, I need.
Right.
And
Means
that's another
I do
point.
not have.
That's another point we'll
So
get to.
literally, it's almost a subliminal message when Jesus is saying thank you because it means it is finished. Isn't it wonderful that it is finished?
Right.
Meaning, thank you, Father. Before it is even done, it is done. The hard part for us mortals is to have the faith to persist into the whole process of achieving the desire, the once desired thing.
Right. So number one, the step to changing the habit of self-talk and inner speech, I like calling it inner speech,
Yeah.
is the awareness of your inner speech. Number
Right.
two, bite the tongue.
Right, and going back to number one, realizing your inner speech with an uncritical mind, meaning, oh, how can I be saying that to myself? No, don't even go there.
right.
Accept your inner speech and change it and mold it towards your projected path that you'd like to assemble in your life.
Sure. So let me ask you the question. What happens when you bite the tongue? I would say the metaphor of biting of the tongue, which means a restriction of speech, both physically and mentally, yes.
Well, there's a sense of burning and fury inside.
Okay, what else happens?
You're now on a different wavelength of, I am now aware.
Right, you're more introspective as to what you're talking to yourself
Right.
about. Let's just say, for example,
But-
you're looking at a picture of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take the prosaic person who thinks they're overweight. They look at themselves in a picture and say, ooh, I look so fat in that picture, it's disgusting. You hear that all the time in society, okay? That's what they normally would say to themselves in their inner speech. If they bite the tongue, both mentally and physically,
Yeah.
while speaking, they'll come to that statement, oh, I look so fat and ugly in this picture, and they'll say, why am I saying that? If what I would like to accept for myself is a substantiation of beauty in my life,
Right.
why would I accept that erroneous statement for myself?
Right, so
It's a question.
The uncritical observation of inner speech, and the next step is biting the tongue. Now you have a clear plate at which to
write the canvas of
to
your
rewrite
life.
the canvas of inner speech.
Yeah.
So now you basically cleared it. You have a clean slate.
So now, you're aware of what your inner speech is.
Yes.
You bite the tongue so that you can muse introspectively. What's the next step? The next step,
There's faith. Faith has to be involved.
okay.
Because
But you said earlier you have to know what you want to accept for yourself. So that's an imaginative, creative faculty there that must be catalyzed and pushed into play.
yes, you do have to know what you want. You have to muse that over in your mind very diligently.
Sure. And that's where biting of the tongue comes into play, because biting of the tongue gives you time
Right.
and energy to go over these things. Do I want to accept that for myself?
Right now, and it has to have other people in mind as well. For example, your desire has to be mutually beneficial for not only yourself, but
Yes.
also other parties involved.
Why is that important? You're
Because
damn right.
what you give, you receive back.
Yes.
This is what karma is. Okay, so if what you are giving becomes back to you, why would you give something that you wouldn't want to yourself to other people? On the physiological level, on the psychological level. You wouldn't. In theory, but people do. So that's the next step, is the desire has to be mutually beneficial for both you and all the parties involved.
Mutually beneficial and specific. Making this inner speech very practical. So you're looking at the individual who is aware that they're overweight, is now uncritical of the situation, looking at the picture of themselves, biting the tongue as to what they would have said. Oh, I'm so fat and ugly, this is a disgrace. They bite that statement and say, okay, this is the physical manifestation that is my body right now. Okay? I am uncritical and accepting of it now.
Right?
What do I want to accept for myself in the future? Okay, let's just say not lose 40 pounds or 30 pounds or whatever it is, because that's who wants to lose. Right. You want to accept for yourself the giving away or the shedding of 30 pounds. Right. Now, how do you make it practical? Let's just say this. You said you want being creative and accepting a new paradigm for yourself in a positive manner. Okay. And saying thank you first. So thank you for the courage within me that is able to act on the habits necessary for me to shed 30 pounds.
Right, and after that, you'll find yourself going out through the daily activities of life, and you'll find yourself doing things differently.
Different behaviors.
Different behaviors. You might not be eating the same foods that you would, or something inspires you to go for a walk, or you might lift up a couple of weights, or who knows. This is divine intervention coming through your inner speech of the uncritical observation of what you once were. And I think that's very practical.
It very is.
I honestly think that's a practical example. And to sum this up, this conversation up, I think we learned here that really everything stems out from inner speech or the imagination of man.
Everything emanates from within.
Take this bottle. This company, Splendor Water, had to have first imagined what they wanted their product to look like before they rolled it out on a production line.
Well before that, yeah, they had to, where do we want to source this product?
So this was imagined before it was reality.
I'd say they did a pretty good job at sourcing it.
Right? So Romans 4:17, he calls things not seen as though they were. So that bottle was called forth, although not seen, as if it were seen. And then they rolled it out.
So going back to one of the primordial points you made, it is done, it is finished. Yeah. Those were Jesus' last words, it is finished. On a subatomic level, what does that mean? Creation is done. You cannot add to the atoms that are created. You cannot create energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Yeah.
You can only rearrange the atoms that have already been put into this amalgamation that is existence.
Right. So that's going back to, and to sum this up properly, and to sum this up practically, it's really getting specific with what you want, because there's a whole vast array of unlimited potential that you can choose from. It's really getting specific with what it is that you would like to portray or experience in your life.
My intentions, based on Neville's awakened imagination and the search, is twofold. Number one, my proclivity is to speak with haste, where I ought to have mused over what I'm going to say and why I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
So speaking with a little bit more deliberation, accentuating my syllables rather than just slurring them off. When you finish your sentence, finish high, don't go down with your voice.
Yeah.
Very important. Number two, when the tongue is being bitten, the acceptance of what it is that I would like to substantiate, for me, I'm working on becoming more specific in that acceptance. It's like when you place an order, okay?
Yeah.
I want an acai bowl. Okay, what do you want for your toppings? Get very specific. Do you want coconut shavings? Do you want them chopped? Do you want them fine?
Right.
Do you want honey? Do you want a drizzle? Do you want it all over the side? Get very specific as to what I would like to accept for myself.
So for me, and the lesson that I can take away from is going through the day, and as I'm going through the day, consciously saying thank you. Like if you just say thank you over and over and over again, or it is finished, or isn't it wonderful, phrases like that, your mind is going to say, what am I saying thank you for? Okay, there's your blank canvas.
I love that.
Now what do you want?
So your elicitation of creativity is gratitude.
Right, so, and then you say thank you, okay, what am I thankful for? And you could literally say anything. I'm thankful for getting to my perfect weight, or having a more lavish income, or mutually beneficial relationships, or whatever it is, and get the feeling of that as you're saying thank you. And I think that's going to be the practical lesson that I can take forth from this book from Neville.
I love that. So we encourage you to become aware of your inner speech because it is invaluable when applied in a positive and propitious manner using creative imagination.
Right.
So we encourage you to, number one, become aware of your inner speech. And number two, come to a sense of biting the tongue, allowing yourself to ask, why would I say that? And pause for a moment to allow your mind to construe what it is you want to accept for yourself moving forward.
So making practical a desired change in your life, you first understand what it is that you want. Then instead of wanting it, you put yourself in the inner speech that already implies the fulfillment of that previous desire. This is the practical way of defining the means to that end.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more epic chill talk videos.
And if you experiment with this and see if you can make a once desired thing come to reality with this least amount of effort. There really is no effort really implied here. It's mental effort, yes, because you need to find out what it is that you wanted, but also it's consciously using your mind for the proper good of what you want to experience in your life.
I have an epic challenge for everybody on our channel.
What's that?
The first one who can substantiate and manifest a blue flower with red thorns in their experience gets pinned.
Blue flowers, red thorns.
Blue flower, red thorns, blue flower, red thorns, blue flower, red thorns.
Get specific. Stay chill.
Stay chill.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.